All right. Well, time for us to dive into relationships. And with us here, of course, we have Benjamin Zulu this morning, who's a psychologist. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante.
We want to talk about hidden triggers in every relationship. And, 1 minute you're in love, 1 minute you're like, where is this person from and how did they end up in my life? Sometimes you're in tears of joy. Sometimes you're in tears of pain. Sometimes they are a prayer partner, other times they are a prayer point. So, relationships can be very volatile. They have their ups and their downs. They have their seasons. And part of maybe the struggle with all of those is what we're calling hidden triggers today. These are silent, maybe pre-existing, shatter-ready things that can really break a relationship. So the question we're asking you today is, what are your triggers? Do you know what your partner's triggers are as well? So Benjamin, maybe just give us an overview, first of all, of triggers and relationships, because I think sometimes we enter relationships very naive that because we feel in love, like it's always going to be that way. And we kind of almost put aside the fact that this is a whole different person with a completely different background and a completely different personality.
Just first of all, this is a very important topic because the negative cues are not discussed. Negative cues are those quiet gaps that you can trip into if you're not aware of them. Mm-hmm. Positive red flags we all can see. It's those things that potentially troublesome and are not visible that end up ruining us.
And they don't look troublesome in the
beginning.
No, they don't.
Yeah. When we are not, for example, one of the biggest triggers in relationship is your ex. Hey. If you say you're going to talk to your ex today about anything, if you say you met your ex somewhere, there's nothing positive I want to hear about your ex. Just know that. Mm-hmm. Just, we all wish we were the only person in our lover's life.
Right.
We know it's not real, but it's ideal.
Yeah.
We all wish. That's why I encourage girls who are virgin to remain virgin. Because you are escaping regrets many of us deal with. Mm-hmm. I encourage those girls, some are virgin in the body but their hearts have been broken 20 times. Mm-hmm. I want to encourage people to be pure in reality. If you can maintain yourself, the Bible says you don't need to learn so much about the world and sin, so-called knowledge and secrets. Mm-hmm. You don't need to experiment. Part of when we come to relationship, Joyce, we come under an emotion called romance or infatuation. Sometimes I call it neurochemical overcharge. It's a very strong infatuation. It's very sweeping. It's fire. You're thinking about this person, and when you see them, you feel butterflies. They touch you and your knees melt. And you hug and you don't let it go. You just hold hands throughout. It is a honeymoon phase. And it's important for us to come together.
But isn't there also a difference? I grew up learning the difference between love and lust, infatuation and romance.
Now I'm talking about love itself. Yes.
There's a difference.
There's a very big difference.
Because some of these guys are just tetemekaing for their knees are just but it's not for the right reason.
That's true. It's very true. There's a place for lust. But what I'm explaining is a phase of true love.
Okay.
When you meet your true love, there will be a phase of strong chemistry. Very strong chemistry.
Right.
Now, that is only a phase and it's called forming. Once you marry, now that chemistry is supposed to morph or change to something more stable.
Okay.
The next thing is what we call now the true love. The first one is usually the flower, a lot of fragrance, a lot of storm, but it's not sustainable because you tune out the whole world. You tune out your work. You tune out your parents. You tune out everybody to be with this lover. Yeah. During that phase, that's when we are very childlike and we think this is the best person. We idealize them. The next phase of true love is where the charm wears off and you begin to see them more for who they are. That they have their own struggles. They have their own weaknesses.
Yeah.
And when we see them that way, that's when we begin to get disappointed for some idealizations we had filled into our minds about them. That disappointment phase brings friction. And the friction, we call it storming. The first stage of coming together is called forming. The next one is called storming. And then the next one is called norming. And the final one is called performing. The four of them. But this first stage when we come together is very romantic, but it's very ideal and unreal. When you go to the next one, is called now stabilization. You begin to know that I also have struggle. I have exes. I have my past. I have things. Some things I can't control. Sometimes, and I want to tell you something about men that they won't tell you.
Okay.
Something they won't tell you. Oh, man.
Okay.
All our energy as men is tied to our sexual drive. So those who want to say, how do I know that he can perform? Check whether how he's behaving outwardly. That energy will continue everywhere. So men who are energetic and charismatic also struggle to tame their sexual passions. Okay. Does not mean when I'm married, my wife is not meeting my need, but there's a part of our sexual need that is greed, and which we must tame. What did God tell Cain? Sin stands at the door. It seeks to have you, but you must learn to master it. So yes, I have my wife who meets my need, but I must constantly tame my greed. Now, greed is what you call lust. I wanted to differentiate that for you. So lust is that thing that is selfish, that thing that is out of control, that is you're just going by your instinct, and it's impure, it's exploitative, it's excessive, it's out of control. So when the passions of men are not tamed, that's when you have lust. That's when you have greed. That's when you have people behave. They do one thing that ruins work of 20 years in 3 minutes. That time they are obsessed. The sexual energy for men can become obsessive. Let me tell you a funny example. When you see animals running, donkeys, cocks, male things running. Remember, men have such a thing. Only that we don't run that way literally, but we also struggle with that kind of energy. Okay. You see them chasing. So that testosterone is the same in men. They won't tell you that. Okay. We are not saying the animal, but it's the same emotion. But it's the same emotion they're struggling with. And when women love, they use oxytocin. Women bond using oxytocin, something we call trust molecule. Sometimes they call it trust molecule because it's an emotion for bonding. That's what women use mostly. Now, men are using a very dangerous one called testosterone, okay? They must desire their women sexually. And please, don't deny your man his cookie if you love him. Even if you're punishing him, punish everything else. You better deny me the ugali, you can deny me the car. Look for everything else to deprive me. Right. But not that one. Yeah. Because even when things are okay, I struggle to tame it. Okay. Now, please don't worsen my struggle. Wow. Okay. So, when we come together, one of the triggers is to try and injure my confidence in you that you are mine alone by bringing up a past ruler, a past, men are very territorial, and we always think in terms of the sultan. I'm the sultan in this woman's life. Now you want to tell me about an ex-sultan who's returning? You know that you talked, he chatted you. I don't mean all of us are immature and not understand. Sometimes you're working with somebody who used to date somewhere.
So you never want to know at all?
Don't tell me.
No, but what if so you've moved on, fine, but what if the guy, where is the honesty line? Like, where are you, at what point are you supposed to be honest and open in the relationship? You don't want anything to do with him, but are you supposed to say, by the way, this person has been texting me, I'm just letting you know?
And that's okay, but what am I supposed to do with that information? So again, I'm also hoping I'm marrying an adult person who can guard the doors through their life.
That's true.
The problem in the pre-25s, they act helpless. But he keeps texting me. What do? I told him to leave me alone. Now he can't stop. What should I do now? I don't want to hear that nonsense of childishness. Right. I expect you to lock the doors of the access of your life. By this time,
there's a lion outside. I don't know what to do. Lock the door.
That's I tell you. So I don't mean, when you are true, when we are mates, we share life. Whatever happens, you tell me something interesting. Imagine so and so called me today. That's no problem. I don't mean that's a problem. Right. But I become a problem when you begin to talk like you are disturbed by their call and you are. I mean, longing and longing. There's a guy I worked with, and the lady told her, "I'm going to a party and I'm tagging along my ex." Imagine that. Imagine that. Just imagine that.
Benjamin is about to jump off the couch.
Joyce, we have stupid women. The Bible says foolish women tear down. I'm quoting Bible. Praise the Lord.
Foolish women. Trying to get me in trouble.
Foolish women destroy their family, destroy their home with their own hands. This woman was very foolish, telling the guy I'm tagging along, don't be insecure. So I told the guy, unachezewa mind games. You're being prepared to be cheated on in the name of you're supposed to be mature and tolerate it.
Oh my gosh. My goodness.
It's one of the trigger is the other one is former unfaithfulness. If you have ever cheated on me, if you have ever gone out and I've forgiven you, then you start bringing that up in a way, in whichever way, or throwing it back to me, or anything of which violated our trust. As I told you, trust is very delicate, and if it is broken, it takes us delicate work to build it again, and it takes a lot of courage and risk, because love means vulnerability. Me being very vulnerable to you. If you crush that, I'm so hurt to the fiber of my being. The deeper they love, the deeper they hurt. You follow the pattern? The deeper you hurt a person, the deeper you love them, the more they can hurt you if they misbehave. So if you have once violated my trust, and then something, you begin to behave in a manner that looks like how you had behaved that other time, what do you expect me to think? I'm mature, yes, no, I've come to, but one of the things when you forgive each other is you should not behave in a manner that suggests that we are back to that, because it will bring back the pain. So even if our mood was good and it was bad there, and then suddenly you behave or you use the same words you used on another person, and it ended up in unfaithfulness, it can ruin the mood. It can ruin the mood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want us to take a break, and when we come back, there's a lot more triggers that I want us to discuss. The respect trigger. We're going to be looking at the resentment trigger, the value trigger as well, the despair trigger, and even the stagnation trigger. We're keen to get an understanding of what all of these different triggers are all about. But 111 is the SMS sign. Also send your feedback on our Facebook page at Switch TV Kenya, and we'll be back after this. All right, guys, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. I'm here with Benjamin Zulu, and we're talking about hidden triggers in every relationship. And we've talked about the first one there being your ex, just a no-go zone. Wave your white flag, don't do it.
Very good.
All right, let's move on to what is called the respect trigger. And this is about sort of, just a bare minimum of respect. And there are those people who will completely dismiss their partner's complaints, their observations, their feelings even sometimes, and it just translates as a lack of respect.
And we need to say that it's impossible to love a person if you don't trust, if you don't respect them, and they cannot feel valued if you keep violating me as a person. Respect is a personal violation. If you do not show regard for my dignity, it's impossible to turn around and say you love me. And part of the way to show respect is simply respect a person. Be sensitive to my feelings. If you say something that you suspect hurt me, don't keep quiet there and act like you don't know that you hurt me. There are people who hurt you and they wait for you to come and say you hurt me, and then they say, okay, if I hurt you, then I'm sorry. It's like they're putting it as a condition. You need yourself to initiate the conversation and say, I realize when I say that time, I think it was a mistake on my part. I had not realized it, but I think it did not come out well and it hurt you. Okay. That's the best way to show respect. When you apologize, you show that you respect me. Sometimes you not only apologize, but you also we call it amends. You do something to correct and heal me. Have you noticed that on the road when you're driving and a person cuts you or you cut them wrongly and you're not seeing them, but it was genuinely mistake? Sometimes they feel agitated, but if you just wave to say I'm sorry, it calms most people. They can see it was not madharau, it was a mistake. You are not doing that to look down on them or cross their path or hurt them. So one way, let's make this very basic, because I hear people say, I've been this guy, he beats me up, being this guy. Respect is the minimum.
Yeah.
By the time a person lays hands on you, the respect is long
seriously,
gone.
That's not love. And we need to say this. It's not love when someone is abusing you. We need to stop that.
And let's warn our mothers who tell their daughters that they must, in fact, they model to them accommodating abuse when they stay with a person who's battering them for the sake of the children. What are you preparing the children for? What are you modeling them for? Tell your children that their respect comes number one. Not love, not marriage status, not anything. Your personal respect. And many times, we do not quit on people because we have given up on marriage. We quit on people because they no longer respect us and we want to maintain our dignity. And we said the other day, personal respect, self-esteem, dignity, that is all you are made of. If your respect is taken away, your self-esteem, you reduce it to a thing. If you no longer feel you respected as a human being, there is no point in saying I'm in love or I'm in any kind of relationship. So let relationship, respect be non-negotiable. And we can go ahead and say, I think we should give people permission to unlove us, to stop loving us. But we must never give people permission to disrespect us. That is a boundary we must always say. You cannot talk down on me. You cannot embarrass me. You cannot lay your hands on me. we can disagree. We can agree to disagree. We are adults. Nobody is another person. I don't know where people get this mindset that when I marry you, I make you my slave or something. Have you heard that people will show you instruction? You must not hang out with those friends. I said, if you try out, you will suffer consequences.
Who are you talking to?
Imagine. There are people who have forgotten that love does not mean being bound.
Right. And that's not to say that your partner shouldn't say anything and you don't do. I don't think that's the point here. We're talking about people who are controlling and are overpowering over you. Now, true love, even in faith, is obedience.
Exactly.
Right? So if you know something is going to bother your partner, don't do it.
And there comes a time that I can tell you what I'm uncomfortable with.
Right.
We can discuss respectfully.
Right. But this thing of
not a person issuing restraining orders as if they are talking to their servant or talking to a child. I say, don't remove that cloth, remove, check. And there are ladies who try to control their men like puppets, especially if the man has been a sinner before. You know those guys who have been caught sinning and they repented, but they were forgiven under very strict conditions that they must never say hi to anybody else. They must never carry anybody in the car. Say anybody in the car. So I have met brothers who agreed to pardon on very impossible terms. And they tell them, what you don't realize is this is no longer a relationship.
Yeah.
There's no trust anymore. Okay. There's no respect anymore.
Okay. Mercy from Nakuru here is saying, morning Joyce, how are you? I missed the morning devotion. How will I get it? You can watch it on YouTube. That link will be provided later. Someone here is saying, hey Joyce, please help me differentiate between mistrust and insecurities. I feel like I need to get that.
Sometimes insecurities are not about a particular person. It could be something with you that you have a tendency to fear. Fear that is disproportionate to the threat. Okay, that's insecure. Okay, secure means assured and confident. All right, insecure means not assured and fearful. Are we together? Now, mistrust is towards a person. You mistrust a particular person because they have given you reasons, or you yourself you interpreted things to mean that you cannot count on them to do the right thing.
Right.
And
so you don't trust a person for cheating if they've cheated.
Exactly.
But you have insecurities about cheating even when the person hasn't cheated.
It could be coming from your exes, your past
experiences.
Right. And we must also warn people that sometimes people are insecure about you because they know your capacity. Did I warn men not to sleep with women whom they intend to marry? Because you are showing her what you're capable of, that you can do that to women. And he keeps being afraid that you're doing with others what you did to her. And if you're one of the sexual discipline is mandatory, Joyce. We need to tell all men who are pursuing any career, who have a calling in life, who have to walk a straight path. Proverbs insists so strongly that you must tame your horses. And that's one of the battles. You know, we are being taught to conquer the world. But we don't know that conquering the world is easier than conquering yourself.
That's right.
We must tell men that there's another world inside to conquer. And I use men more because, as I told you, whenever you see another male and Morani, pray for us.
So all those brothers out there using Songs of Solomon, put a ring on it first.
Exactly.
You're not supposed to be quoting that when you're not even married yet. Like, you know.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's the men. It's mistrust is about what a person has shown you they're capable of, but sometimes you're mistrusting them because of their history.
Okay. Speaking of maybe mistrusting someone because of their history, someone here says, good morning, Joyce and Benjamin. Every time I snoop in my man's phone, I always find him flirting with girls. And every time I confront him, he always says he doesn't mean what he writes. Okay. So wow. So I wonder, is that their nature or what? That always triggers me to leave him and go away with my baby. Please advise.
You have entertained that behavior for too long.
Yeah.
First of all, the snooping is not a good thing, but when you suspect mischief, you have the right to look because I have given you my heart. We're in a relationship. I'm vulnerable to you. I will not be policing you, but I can look when I have reasons to look. And I should always know the passwords. I should always know I will not be using them every day, but if need be, again, you can collapse. And I'm the only partner who they will call, hey, come help your husband. Then I start saying, I also can't open the phone. You know? But listen, when a person violates, cheating, we said, is not just sexual, sometimes it's emotional. Yeah. Sometimes using the same emotional attention and praising a person the same way you'd have praised me. Flat, you should draw the boundary. You should make it known to him that you do not want that. Yeah. And you guys would come at an agreement. If you cannot stop this, me, I can't put up with it.
Yeah.
Simple.
And I agree. I think maybe she's put up with this for too long.
Yes.
Because how are you caught flirting and then you say you didn't mean what you wrote?
Why did you write it?
Yeah.
How can the one you wrote to know that you did not mean or you meant it?
Wow. Okay. Someone else says, hey, Benjamin.
How many times?
3 times they've called you. They say you're brighter than 24 elders put together.
Thank you.
I wish you were my high school teacher. Ningepata A+ in your subject.
Thank you.
I'm learning a lot. That's Haggai Nelson watching from.
Oh, it's a guy.
It's a guy.
A brother is learning.
A brother
Who
is
was asking where are the good men? There is one of them. Haggai, are you married, man? I want to advertise you.
Oh my. Okay. Someone here is saying, hey Joyce, I need advice. I'm in Kitengela. I was once in a relationship, but we were struggling with the boy. Kwanza umemwita boy, I think that's already a problem. Maybe he wasn't mature enough. But anyway, you say we were struggling with the boy because he had girl issues. A lot of girls. And we used to break up, but because of the love we got back. I've not finished the SMS though.
I know it.
Wait,
okay, continue. I know what is going on.
Oh Lord. One day I got pregnant and for
I told you I know
for
what
the
is going on.
first month he was okay. But then the next month he started looking for a reason for us to break up.
Of course.
So one day he came and carried all his belongings. We were living in the same house. After a while, his friends, oh, this is quite a long SMS. Okay, let me read. Oh my, it's very long. Let me read it quickly. After a while, his friends came to know I was carrying his child. He came and told me if I wanted anything, I could ask for help. The pregnancy was on the 5th month, and I went to ask for money to go to the hospital. I found another woman at his house. I felt bad. I even became more sick. Okay, let me try and fast forward this message here.
Do you need to read all?
It's quite long. It's probably the longest SMS I've ever received.
But we have received enough facts.
We've received enough
I
facts.
can tell you what is going on. This is a pre-25. And that's dating a pre-30. They don't know what they're doing. She gets pregnant like if it's...
I have to read this part.
Okay, please read it.
So I guess she got the baby, informed him and his mother. For the first week, the mom kept checking on them, then suddenly stopped. He pleaded for her to forgive him. Wasn't sure he had changed, but she really loved him, so she forgave him. And then he told her he doesn't have a phone, but in the real sense, he changed his number. And the friend sent screenshots, and he was in pictures with another girl. The baby is 5 months old, and he's only sent 2,000 shillings.
Tired of this nonsense.
2,000
Let's go down. Forget about how much.
born.
Even if it was 200,000.
That is
Let's
wrong.
go back.
That
Let's
is
go back to
wrong.
this. Let's go back to this. This girl acted senseless without thinking. You do not get pregnant without checking who you're dealing with. You don't live with a man before he marries you. You don't date before you develop your career and have money to finance your own life. You do not date a man who is still exploring with women. You first define your career, grow up, know where you're going, get a man who can do that. This nonsense is avoidable. Don't tell me about you traumatism, this stupidity. Listen, grow up. Relationship is not oxygen. You grow up fast. Don't remove your clothes except when you go to the bedroom. When you removed clothes for him, did you think you were going to perform sacred dances in the nude? Along the way I got pregnant. Did the pregnancy descend by wind pollination? What were you thinking when you had sex?
Y'all done made him mad.
This is a pre-25 nonsense I said I want to talk about. If you act without thinking, you end up with this kind of nonsense. Think first. Don't get relationships before you develop yourself. Have your own money. Know what you want. Date a man who is going somewhere, who is serious with you, who is now disciplined, who is settled. Thank you for bringing that up. I hope pre-25s listen.
Cross your legs, ladies. Keep them together.
That's the nonsense I deal in my inbox every day. And they have the whole hour to write 5 pages. And then the mother did this, and then the ex did this, and then I found this file. And I don't have time to read nonsense.
My chair is shaking. I feel like you're going to fall down.
This is stupidity. Ruin. Do you know why I'm annoyed? This is a dream shattered. This girl had potentials. Sure. This girl had a gift to give the world. Look, us and you are suffering for the wastage of your dreams now. Now you are firefighting, running after a man, talking about 2000, talking about the mother, talking about cows. How did you end up here? Why did you live with a man? Where was your family? You should have been home. Anyway.
No, it's true. It's true. And we need to have these conversations. I think We need to do better for ourselves.
When you are young, read the Bible when you are young. Preach in church when you are young.
Go to
Kesha
school
when you are young. Develop your skills. How did Zuckerberg invade Facebook? Was he sleeping with a girl? He was experimenting with his gifts. The reason we have had our Joyce is because this is what our young people are doing. Who invented WhatsApp? A guy was trying to experiment and try things. No, we need, and I've asked God to give me 20% of young people who have their heads straight, who can hear this message and start by developing themselves before they go to relationships. You need to find your calling in life first, before you remove your clothes and start having sex.
Jameni, Benjamin aletewe maji na towel.
Joyce, let me tell young people, this is not what you need. You need first to develop your skills. Bring your gift to the world. We need it.
And Aki, gentlemen, step up. Seriously. It's not just the chick here, even the guys, step up. And how are you a father and you've sent 2,000 bob to your father? I mean,
he was not trying to be a father, he was trying to have fun. Okay, father should be responsible, but this is not a father. This is a wild boy.
It's a boy.
Thank you. Wild.
It's a boy.
I told you about Melvin's running the testosterone. Can't you see the familiarity
and
now?
Remember, I told you, she's the one who started off the SMS saying we were struggling with the boy. So you yourself actually knew he wasn't.
And then he has a girl problem. You call you call it a problem?
Okay, let's move on from that one. Nakwambia I'm only 17, but wherever Benjamin Zulu goes, niko hapo pampa to pampa. Now, Mimi, in this relationship world, sitekete, I take them so seriously.
Thank you.
Asante sana for that. Man, my time is actually running out. Unfortunately, this Kawan SMS has taken up quite a bit. But let's quickly touch on some of the other triggers. Resentment, stagnation, despair. Resentment is that one of shirking responsibility and just dumping it on your partner.
You're right.
Stagnation is you constantly repeating the same mistake. Watu huchoka. People get tired.
And just let's say, where there's no growth, we cannot stay together. Relationships are like bicycles. They can only be stable when they are moving. We said when you come together, start growing each other. Start looking at the next project, the next thing. Start growing to the next level. Don't keep on. When you stay together, it will be stale and stagnant. Water stinks.
Yeah.
Some people just collapse for staying in the same place.
Yeah. I think we're going to call it a day here. But pre-25s, young people, I hope you've heard. I hope you're paying attention. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And half of these relationships never end up anywhere anyway. So please focus on yourself. The world needs you to show up in your full potential.
Thank you.
The world needs you. This country needs you.
What you have, nobody else has it in the world.
That's true.
Why are you denying it to us? Use your energy first to grow. Respect your seasons in life.
You can have sex for the rest of your days. For now, just chill out.
If this girl had a car carrying a girl there would be so much crisis. Grow up first. I said don't be broken at the same time. Choose one struggle.
Come on.
Choose
your struggle, by the way. Hashtag that.
Get a money first. You cannot be abandoned by men and money and God. Get the money first. So that if men abandon you, at least you have some money and you can go to church and give some offering and pray and go home.
Nyinyi watu mmekasirisha Benjamin sana. Leona hata suti yake mzuri imeanza kutokana jameni. Pole baba.
Thank you.
Okay, wacha nimalizie. You can find him at Benjamin Zulu KE everywhere. God bless you. And we'll be back after this, you guys.